Do you want to know something crazy? The last time I properly attempted to play Dilo on evrima was in January. That was the last time I voiced my opinions on how it feels to play the supposed monster under the bed. But with night vision getting a complete rework, and rumors of agility changes to my favorite night predator, I had hope. Maybe, just maybe, Dilo finally got the love that it needed. I'll burst that hope bubble right here and now. No, it didn't. If anything, changes to the rest of the roster have left poor Dilo in an even worse place. But rather than just tell you all my woes and sorrows, allow me to show you. We've finally been given the randomized spawning that I hoped would return from Legacy. Well, I mean not really. Actually, we just don't get to choose which of the previously predetermined spawns we now spawn in. Which is better, I suppose, but considering most of the roster still heads south, that particular area remains a hotspot. Dilo, though. Dilo likes to spawn north. Which would be fine if sanctuaries were useful for predators. But as they're not currently, I found myself very quickly on the verge of starvation. Thankfully, another Dilo had killed a fresh spawn raptor, and I was saved from my imminent demise for a moment. Still without additional diets, though, I knew I needed to find something else. With the Horde test having just barely begun, all the carnivore players that had randomly spawned in the north began to converge on the sanctuary. It was, after all, the only place they could go to hope that they might find something in this forsaken half of the map. Two fresh Ceratos began fighting for their lives. Quite loudly, I might add. So I took the opportunity to insert myself. In an ideal world, I would kill both. But this is the Isle. Only one went down. The other fled, and I, unwilling to use the shouldn't be there but oops we forgot to turn it off before launching the test spectator mode, took what I could get from the Cerato carcass. Somewhat better off than I started, I decided to go check out the patrol zone that was offered to me. Might as well, right? New stuff must be explored. Upon my arrival, I was fortunate to discover a fresh spawn Tenno. Not the most elegant kill, but it was edible, so I couldn't complain. My little patrol area continued to be profitable. A raptor chasing a small Carno appeared, and I opted to target the slower of the two. Sometimes rubber banding and lag are the worst. But this time it saved me from the embarrassing death the poor raptor suffered. My initial success wouldn't last, though. I had found another Dilo and joined up with them. Dilo, after all, is pretty well a simple snack when it is solo. When I heard their warning call, I raced to investigate, and spotted a Carno. Alright, fleeing Carno. My instinct kicked in. He'd be draining stamina. Easy enough. Honestly, aside from some lag hits, I was feeling pretty confident. Not too bad, no big deal. Carno was scared and camping. And then the second arrived. Guess who's back? Update 6 Carno charge! So after dying to the spirits of that Carno's ancestors, I ended up at West Rail. Okay. Baby Dibbles. I can manage those. They're slow, and as long as I'm careful with my movement, it'll be fine. Except the server crashed. When it returned, a slightly larger Dibble juvenile arrived. Great. The smallest one I'd been targeting did not return. Because of course he didn't. But I was hungry and I needed my final diet. But of course, with my abysmal agility and Dibble's obnoxious ability to attack 3 times in the time it takes a target to get up from a stun, well. I kept trying. Back in the north, I discovered a lucky break. Perfectly untouched dino carcass. This would give me a proper start. Carno. No. This is my food. Gosh dang it. With the Carno in the wind, I returned to the food I had rightfully earned. Don't you tell me I didn't work dang hard for this carcass. Well, how many times is this now? I ended up in South Sanctuary. Not necessarily because I wanted to be there, but simply because I managed to spawn in West Rail, had no idea where I was, and fell off of a small cliff to the bottom of the canyon. Anyway, I heard a Cerrado juvenile eating something, and I needed diets and food. Is it a good idea to attack a Cerrado at my size? No, probably not. But the lag of the century was on my side. Until it wasn't. Riddle me this. Dilo has the longest vomit animation in the game. It has probably the worst agility in the game, aside from Stego and Land Dino. And I say that because Carno at least has a functional slide. It has an ability that is cool in theory, but that relies heavily on janky AI to work, and that it cannot access until it is 50% grown. It is fragile and easily killed overall. Why then does Dilo need to take 65 years and grandma's ashes to vomit? Who honestly needs such a massive opening to kill a Dilo of all things? Why not Stego or Dible? Annoyed with the pain that is playing Dilo solo, because I died so many times I hadn't even had the chance to find others, I dragged Acronym in with me for a short time. Alright, actual progress. I had to log out, and when I returned, it was back to a solo existence for the remainder of my growth. Back to South, seeking diets and some action. Having not learned my lesson from fighting Cerrados previously, I attacked. It was nighttime. My venom is more potent. And now comes perhaps the most disappointing part of playing Dilo. I know you can't see or hear it, but that Cerrado is surrounded by fog. And the rain sound is now gone. My footsteps are amplified. My sounds are amplified. All I can do is keep moving and sending hallucinations to attack. The Cerrado doesn't bother trying to fight them or avoid them. They're currently broken. You can't fight them. They do damage regardless. So he didn't try. He could hear me perfectly, and that makes tracking my path incredibly simple. He died from hallucinations. Not me actually doing anything skillful. I took a bite every time I tried to do damage on him myself. And I think that's where Dilo is the most disappointing for me. If you can tank a hit or two to envenomate the target, and conditions are ideal for hallucinations to spawn, all you have to do is not die. That's it. Venom lasts long enough on Serato at night that you don't even need to reapply it. And so I soloed a Serato as a 90% Dilo. After healing from the encounter, I returned to scavenging. It was still daylight hours, and I didn't dare attempt to hunt anything larger than a raptor without my hallucinations to help me. Such is life as a solo Dilo, though. I came across a baby Dible that had been killed by a recently crashed young Serato. I ignored the Serato and took my fill of the organs from his kill. It's unfair to kill him while he can't fight back after all. Of course, mid-meal he returned. Initially I thought he was going to do the smart thing. Accept the L and walk away. Find a new meal elsewhere. But when he came shaking his fist like a tiny angry grandpa, what else was there to do but teach him a lesson? It didn't have to end this way. But I guess at least I could finish refreshing my line diet. Sometime later, I followed a patrol zone all the way out to the northern side of the map. I have some thoughts about patrols, but I'll save that for my Tonanto run. I will just say this. At the current moment of recording, herbivore life is incredibly painful. As I was wandering, I spotted a little land dino attempting to make his way up to the lake. Poor thing. With the map changes in the North Lake area, getting back up those waterfalls is a difficult task for a dino. He didn't stand a chance. There was nowhere for him to go but off the cliff to try and body deny. I'll be honest. Much of my Dilo's life was incredibly dull. I joined back up with Acro to go to the new port, which is cool, but was also very devoid of life aside from a pair of sub-raptors. And lag. Lots and lots of lag.
There's more raptors.
Back in Highlands, I found a couple of sub-Dilos to join up with. After chasing off a galley that attempted to bully them, we made our way toward West Rail. On the way, though, a Stego decided he wanted to have a go. Must have been bored and dealing with the issues with being a herbivore this patch. I'll be honest, I despise fighting Stegos now that they have their power swing. The hitboxes are silly large and can essentially one-shot everything smaller than an adult Dibble. Unwilling to risk my life, I played distraction more than anything. Until I spotted the Carnos in the rain. Yeah, nah, not worth it. More stuff happened, but I'll admit I forgot to record it because I was so annoyed. Long story short, these Carnos showed up. At first there were only 2 and we managed to escape them in the rain. But not long after, 2 more arrived. and I got run down by 4 infinitely charging Carnos. Absolutely nothing I could do. No help from the other Dilos I was with either. And so I died. But if you'd like a replay of what dealing with Carnos as Dilo is like, here's what happened when I came across Sub-Carno while trying to regrow yet again. Yeah. So I give up on Dilo again for now. It's just not agile enough, not fast enough, doesn't really have an advantage at night with the new night vision, and relying on buggy AI that only works in an open field with no rocks, trees, bushes, or water around just doesn't feel satisfying. Honestly, I've talked about it before, but Dilo needs to return to being a bleeder, but with a twist. I want the hallucinations to be scary, numerous, and not do damage. They are just there to keep the target moving and terrified. Picture this: hallucinations that become more numerous the higher your venom stage is. The fog getting significantly closer to you than it currently does. But your venom is an anticoagulant. The target sees Dilos running, screaming, charging and poofing into dust, crossing your vision, running through you. It's much more difficult then to discern which is the real one. So the actual Dilo can then refresh the venom more effectively. Venom stages last much less time. We're talking 15 to 20 seconds if they're not refreshed with bites. But also each stage causes your blood to drain by a faster margin when you're moving. During the day, venom is then much less useful. Hallucinations don't spawn, or spawn in significantly lower quantities of only 1 or 2. Venom stages last only 5 to 10 seconds without a refresh. Now Dilo is pushed toward being a hunter at night and a scavenger in the day. People should fear the calls of Dilos when the night falls. Right now they don't. Or at least I don't. I just think, oh, a snack. So what do you think? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. What would you like to see done with Dilo? Do you think it's fine as is? Does Dilo feel scary to you, or is it a fairly easy kill? As always, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like for the algorithm. And if you're new around here, please consider subscribing for more content like this. Oh, also, I have merch now if you want to support the channel that way. Shop is linked wherever YouTube puts these things. Anyway, I hope to see you all again soon.